All right, looks like Christmas came early for me, and I've been good because I got Ducktales episode 5, Too Much of a Gold Thing. It's a play on Too Much of a Good Thing. So now that I've explained the joke to you, you're all on board. This episode starts with El Capitan realizing he's only got 4 fingers, and it blows his mind. Then it blows this bird's mind. Then it blows everyone's mind. Then it blows Scrooge and Launchpad's minds. And then after it's done blowing everyone's mind, Scrooge starts itching. And Miss Beakley explains it's because he's got gold fever. It's apparently this condition people get when they think of gold. And they get the DTs like someone trying to kick heroin. So Scrooge decides to land the ship. So he has the guy from the Apollo use a hook to pull the handle on the ship. The plane it falls on El Capitan. Launchpad falls over dead. Then they realize that they're about to fall off a waterfall, so they bring Launchpad back, and he stops the boat. Then Scrooge brandishes a weapon at the kids, the women and children again. He usually does it once an episode. And he points it at the audience, so they know that they're in it too. They tell Launchpad to fix the ship. They'll be back. He heils Hitler, and then Scrooge has the boys and the little girl paddle him upstream in a very strong current. Huey, Dewey, or Louie falls asleep because he's so exhausted because he hasn't slept or eaten in days. Scrooge pokes at a watermelon that's in the river, stopping him. Turns out the watermelon's a shifty-eyed crocodile who knows jujitsu. That's why he's standing like that. Then one of them gets greedy because he's hungry and decides to eat an oar like a Dorito. It turns sideways in his mouth and gets stuck in the roof and hurts. Then the other crocodiles realize that they're Doritos, so they start coming over. Scrooge brandishes a knife, points it at the kids. You can tell here they're concerned. He raises it above his head. Miss Beakley thinks he's going to stab all of them, which was a crazy, crazy thing for her to assume. Well, maybe not with all the gun pointing he does. But instead, he pokes a hole in the raft, sprays some air into a crocodile's mouth, and they all go for a little jaunt down a cartoonish. Look, I understand it's a cartoon, but this is a cartoonish cartoon path through the jungle. El Capitan's following him. He looks like 3 little people wearing a trench coat trying to pull off a regular sized person. It's all shifty looking. Scrooge steps on a discolored stone. I don't know why people don't learn. He almost gets smashed all a predator. So then he gets gold fever again. He's still itching. Lord of the Rings rips off a shot where everyone's walking up these hills. Scrooge has the boys grab a log and they pry open this door. It's heaven. This light comes out and it blinds them. They're all blind. They can't see ever again. Scrooge walks into the light, even though he's not going to. It turns out he's not in heaven. He's been in hell the whole time. It's a Twilight Zone twist. Launchpad's wrestling with a smarmy-looking snake. The snake pops up. Launchpad says, "Oh, I hate snakes." And then he looks at us and goes, "Oh, that's somebody else." It's both a breaking of the fourth wall and a reference to Indiana Jones. Anyway, they find these giant golden coins that are like the ones Scrooge had episodes back. Scrooge jumps on top of one of the golden coins. It's hanging on an edge, knocks on it because it's too big for him to bite, which is how you tell if money's real. So he decides to jump on it to knock it loose. Miss Beakley pleads that he stop. Her head's getting fatter and her hands are getting smaller. So they slide down the side of the mountain, like in the movie The Island with Ewan McGregor from Michael Bay that everyone's seen. Similar scene. Scrooge finds this building made of gold, gets gold fever, and gets horny eyes. So he pulls out a gun again. Everyone's used to it at this point. Meanwhile, Launchpad's still with that snake. They go inside the temple. Scrooge turns into a cat that's had catnip, so he rolls around and just makes weird cat noises. Just realized he's wearing spats. They find some skeletons, some people who had died before. No word on how they died. One of them's got an L on his forehead, so I can only assume it's Luigi. One of them died with a goddamn pencil in his hand, and his arm held the shape, even though he has no muscle anymore or anything that would hold his bone in that position. So he died mid-writing. Miss Beakley and Webby aren't fazed by this, but Webby pulls out a Junior Woodchuck guide from nowhere. She hasn't had it the whole episode. It just appears, so she starts using it to decipher it, because that's a chapter. Meanwhile, the boys and Scrooge find a room full of gold dust. They find a room full of coins. Scrooge goes for a swim, even though he doesn't have his one piece. The boys try to swim, but they can't break through the coins because they're solid. And then one of them says, "How does he do that?" Which is the first intelligent thing that's ever been said on an episode. This one's got googly eyes, the other two are dead. Meanwhile, Webby deciphered it. And it turns out it means if because of your greed, a duck walking like an Egyptian opens all three doors by sun going to bed, you die, you drink poison, and you get the poison face. Just in time for Scrooge to open the third door, which is full of gold bars. He passes out. He dies from gold fever. So El Capitan shows up, brandishes a gun, and then he starts singing. And he puts them in a bucket next to some skeletons from animals. I have no idea what they would be. They're all there. They're all shocked. Scrooge dies, got his spats up in the air. El Capitan lowers him down into a pit. That turns out, Scrooge has got the gold fever again. But why? He's not near gold. Oh, yes, he is. It's molten gold. So El Capitan gets so mad his mustache shoots at weird angles, pulls him back up, points a gun at Scrooge. He's like, if anyone's going to kill you, it's going to be me. Scrooge pulls a Chong Li from Bloodsport, throws some gold dust in his eyes, and then distracts him. The whole place starts falling apart, falls into the ground. They save Scrooge and El Capitan. Scrooge realizes family's more important than gold. As he's dying, as he climbs this rope, El Capitan shows his crotch to everybody. This wouldn't be a Ducktales episode without a crotch shot. I'm sure another gun brandish is coming. Nope. These gold coins spring to life. They shoot light everywhere, and Launchpad sees that's a sign to pick them up. So they're melting into the gold. They claim it's over 180 degrees, and they're fine. Launchpad makes a pact with himself that from now on he'll fly every ship with one eye closed. The temple's buried. But look, Scrooge got his wish because the ship's covered in gold. So he can't believe his eyes. He's gone crazy. And completely encased in gold, the ship flies. So that makes sense. I guess that's more of a plane. And then Scrooge mixes this body movement and face like a puppet who had their strings cut and they're collapsing. They fly off into the sunset. Okay, so this is the last of the 5-part series. From now on, they're all self-contained, I think. So I'm expecting the storytelling to get drastically better.